Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020, in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis, and I'm Pastor Kiri-Ann Weaver with the First Presbyterian Church of Ithaca, here with a midweek email devotional for everyone. Part of the COVID crisis has been, for many of us, homeschooling, and maybe for the first time having an inside look at what goes on in our kids' classrooms and what kind of things they learn. It's been very interesting, and I love my kids' teachers and all that they're trying to do with the difficulty of distance learning and keeping everyone safe. One of the things that I noticed and at first was thinking quite a lot about is that my kids' classes, especially my second graders, tend to be much more about how to do something than about delivering any content. When we've done homeschooling, we've focused on what the kids can learn, some facts. First, they learned a lot about the bones of the skeleton, and now we're working on the countries of the world, and they're getting quite good at being able to name lots of them and understanding where they are on the continents, and we visited a couple of them through Google Earth. I want my kids to be little bundles of facts so that they're armed with all kinds of information when they go out into the world. My kids' teachers, on the other hand, especially in the second grade and the younger grades, seem to want to teach them a lot of how to think, not the content so much as the how. And I do believe that there's a happy middle ground between the two of them. If my child is going to learn how to make an inference about a text, the text might as well be about Benjamin Franklin than about the neighbor who walked the dog or a pretty flower somebody saw in the road. But here's something I started thinking about. As a pastor, if you offered me the choice of a congregant who knew everything about the Bible, every single story that was in there and all of the characters and all of the begats and all of the numbers, who could cite chapter and verse to find a scripture that was suitable for an occasion, if you gave me a congregant who knew Hebrew and Greek like the back of their hands, but couldn't apply it, didn't understand how to think through it. And then you showed me one Christian who, knowing very little, understood simply Jesus' love. That's what I would choose every time. It's important to have content. It is wonderful to know the things about the stories because that's how we have access to what's going on around us and to our faith and to what God is trying to say. But we have to know how to think. And I think that's Sunday by Sunday what we practice when we get together in worship. We rehearse lines that we say over and over again because they teach us how to think. They strengthen those neural pathways that remind us we must forgive, and God gives us our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation. We practice God's foreverness with our words. And then, when we've said it enough, we start singing it. And then we learn how to think about it too, by reflecting and listening and considering. We do try to meet that happy medium, but it is so important for us to practice how to think as Christians. Consider that as you go about your own lives in this time. If you have a little extra time, practice. How do I think about grace and forgiveness in this situation? How, today, can I be and think and act and serve as Jesus would have me do? This is Pastor Kiri-Ann saying farewell. See you Sunday and again next week.